Hello and welcome to our World in 7 Days on Nelly's TV. My name is Linda Umezriki. First, the headlines. India stares at water scarcity and extreme heat stress. Somalia hit by worst drought crisis in a decade. Philippines approves revival of nuclear power to help replace coal. Circular Economy Stakeholders Conference focuses on making sustainable products the norm. Nations sign up to end global scourge of plastic pollution. Now the news in details. Among Asian cities, Mumbai is at high risk from floods and several sea level rise and hasn't adopted any institutional policies to adapt to these risks, according to Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The Intergovernmental Panel stated that the Ganga, Indus, Amudaya, and other river basins in Asia could face severe water scarcity by 2050 due to climate crisis and related impacts that acts as stress multipliers. According to the report titled Climate Change 2022, Impacts, Adaptation and Vulnerability, the climate crisis is already increasing vector-borne and waterborne diseases, undernutrition, mental disorders, and allergic diseases in Asia by increasing the hazards such as heat waves, flooding, drought, air pollution, in combination with higher exposure and vulnerability. Somalia is experiencing its worst drought crisis in a decade, with millions going hungry and many being forced from their homes in search of food and water. According to a new report by Save the Children, the international charity latest humanitarian assessment, which surveyed more than 12,000 people in 15 of Somalia's 18 regions, said that the majority of families were going without meals on a regular basis. According to a statement by the Save the Children's country director in Somalia, Mohammed Mahmoud, more than one-third of households includes at least one person is going without food over a 24-hour period. Nearly 6 in 10 people reported that at least one person in their family had lost their source of income, largely due to the death of livestock. The report further stated that Somalia has always had droughts and Somalis have always known how to deal with them. They struggle, they lose livestock, they count their losses, and they bounce back. But now the gaps between droughts are shrinking. It's a killer cycle, and it's robbing Somali children of their future. You're watching our World in 7 Days on Nelly's TV. When we come back, Philippines approves revival of nuclear power to help replace coal. Circular Economy Stakeholder Conference focuses on making sustainable products the norm ahead upcoming Commission proposals. Nations sign up to end global scourge on plastic pollution. Stay tuned.
Together, we can do anything.
Welcome back to our World in 7 Days here on Nelly's TV. Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte has signed an executive order to include nuclear power in the country's energy mix as authorities prepare for the phasing out of coal-fired power plants after earlier efforts have failed due to safety concerns. The February 28, 2022 order made public recently could be a major milestone for an economy that suffers seasonal power outages and high electricity prices. The order also directs an interagency panel to look into reopening the mothballed Baton nuclear power plant. The 5th edition of the annual Circular Economy Stakeholder Conference has taken place in a hybrid format. The event focuses on sustainable products for sustainable consumption. The European Union and the European Economic and Social Committee have joined forces with the French presidency of the European Union to organize this flagship stakeholder conference, gathering decision makers, businesses, public authorities, non-governmental organizations, knowledge committees, and civil society organizations to discuss ways to advance the transition to a circular economy in Europe. Participants had the opportunity to grow their network of partners, and discussions focused on upcoming milestones in the implementation of the EU Circular Economy Action Plan, including the Sustainable Products Initiative and the Sustainable Textile Strategy. And lastly, heads of states, environment ministers, and other representatives from 175 nations endorsed a historic resolution at the UN Environment Assembly in Nairobi, Kenya recently to end plastic pollution and forge an international legally binding agreement by the end of 2024. The landmark resolution addresses the full life cycles of plastics, including its production, design, and disposal. President of the Assembly and Norway's Minister for Climate and Environment, Espen Barth Eide, stated that the plastic pollution has grown into an epidemic, but the resolution will set the pace for the cure. The resolution, based on 3 initial draft resolutions from various nations, establishes an intergovernmental negotiating committee which will begin its work this year, aiming to complete a draft legally binding agreement by the end of 2024. Thank you for watching. I'm Linda for Our World in 7 Days on Nelly's TV. I hope you find this interesting, and if you do give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next week.